Rub your hands in the morning. Wake up together with us. And I love laughing yoga in the morning. So I invite you to laugh out loud with me to start this talk. 3 times we'll laugh loudly together. One. Let's start with this one. Ha 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 ha. I don't see anyone laughing. What happened? Too serious a crowd. Okay, second time. Ready? Ha 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 ha. And one more time. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Nobody's laughing. What happened to everyone? They're still asleep. Hello?
No. They are all laughing. They are all laughing, and they did not capture us all. Once again, if you want, they can show their faces and laugh. Now you see the audience. The whole hall is full. Dr. Manish Jain, good morning to you. And we were laughing and we were rubbing our hands too, including our chairman, SCRT people, NCRT people, and all the policy makers who are seated here. Professor Manish Jain, we are all here.
So, I would like to share a little bit of my journey and exploration of has been really unlearning journey. I'd like to share a little bit of that, and I've been trying to learn everything at Harvard and so and my gurus in this last never been to school is one of the most thoughtful, creative people I know, sensitive people I know. The other has been my grandmothers, both of them who never went to school and who really were, again, some of the most, my time in tribal villages. And the fourth has been what I call my own experiments with truth on myself, all these crazy experiments. So whatever I'm going to share with you is not some theory, it's not from some book, it's not from some Harvard course, it's actually things that I've personally experienced and actually tried to create in the world. So as I start this talk, I would like to invoke Eklavya. Eklavya from the Mahabharata. You all know Eklavya? Put your thumbs up if you know about Eklavya. So I don't have to tell you the story. So Eklavya is very important to us. I consider him the first chancellor of my university and his story. And I think for our country, for our civilization, Eklavya is for the field of education, Eklavya is probably one of the most important figures for us to try to understand. And very few of our educationists have really gone into understanding Eklavya and what it means for reimagining education. So there is a difference, what I would say is between extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation. The factory schooling system, as I call it, has been designed with extrinsic motivation, with what is called reward and punishment, carrot and stick. Whatever you do it and you try to get this reward. You know, if you're starting with your parents, or you're saying that if you do well on this, we'll get you a bicycle, or we'll get you a motorcycle, or we'll get you a new iPhone. Or if you don't, you'll be grounded, you'll be punished by your teachers, you'll be put to detention, you'll be given extra homework, whatever. So the entire education life of ours, formal education, is in a model of reward and punishment. What I am interested in is something in our culture and our civilization, which is around intrinsic motivation. What is that motivation that comes from within when there's not a danda on your head? What is that motivation that we do from our deepest spaces of joy and passion and inquiry, curiosity? And Eklavya for me represents that. You all know that Eklavya, basically, I would say he was the first one person in India to win the Olympic gold medal, the equivalent of the Olympic gold medal. Is that correct? You guys agree with that? Thumbs up if you agree. Did Eklavya win the Olympic gold medal? So I want to ask you a question. How did he do it? In the national education policy, it says it's not only important to learn things, but how we learn. So I want to ask you to imagine, what did Eklavya do sitting in that jungle every day for so many years that he became better than Arjun, that he became the best archer in the world? And he didn't have any ideas. Did you ever think about this question? What did that, we've heard the story 100 times. What did that guy do every single day? What I would offer to you is that he was playing every day. And I'll explain this in more detail, but he was playing. And so my talk today is called The Pedagogy of Play. And he was free playing. There was no referee or no coach or no instructor or no phone at that time for him to play on, but he was in a space of free play, free, unstructured play. And so that's what I would like to explore with you today is what did that guy do every day when he was there? And how is that very fundamentally different from the way schools are designed? And I would have put this question to you to think about when I'm talking. Do you think that schools encourage intrinsic motivation, or do they kill intrinsic motivation? This is a question I'll offer you. So before we go deeper into this, I wanted to say a few words about the national education policy. So I think the policy has created a good space like this, a beautiful space for reflection and dialogue, and hopefully for new experimentation. So in that sense, it's a very useful document. It has all the right words. I was rereading it last night before this talk, just looking at it again. And it has all these beautiful words, holistic, integrated, and all of that. But I would argue that it is too little, too late. Too little, too late. And in the sense of the kind of changes, the kind of imagination that we need for education right now is missing from that document. And let me share with you a couple of reasons why. One is the most obvious reason. It is still teacher-centric. It is not learner-centric. It doesn't understand the diverse learning needs and learning styles and learning contexts of learners. And I would say the biggest word for our times right now all over the world is customization. You cannot continue to give a one-size-fits-all model of education. When we say a learner has failed, it is not the learner that's failing, it's the education system that's failing. Each learner has immense amount of talent and potential. And it's actually the teachers, the school, the whole design of the system that has failed the learners. I don't think there are any learners who are failures. So what I'm trying to say is that we have to shift the approach from being teachers. And there was, if you remember, many of you were there, may have remembered the Yashpal Committee report from back in the 90s. And they said there's a lot of teaching and training going on in our culture, in our country, but very little learning and understanding. So unless we understand the learner and we recenter, reprioritize the learner, I don't think we're going to get very far. The second thing I would offer is, I didn't put it up on the screen, but I'll just put it here. Can you guys make this triangle shape with me? So I'll make a shape of a triangle, okay? And there are 3 points on the triangle, right? The first point, what I would offer, these are 3 crises that we are facing. The first crisis is the crisis of unemployment, right? And the government of India, its own statistics, it's mind-boggling, astounding, that they say in the next 20 years, we will have 18 crore, 180 million unemployed educated youth. And who are creating these uneducated youth? It's the education system who is the biggest contribution right now to the country is from the education system is unemployment. You will never find any uneducated, unemployed people. You'll find only educated, unemployed people in our country. And so I think we have to look at this. If you can imagine 180 million educated, unemployed youth, what will it mean for our country? It will mean immense amount of violence, chaos, even system breakdown. Because all of these youth are not only unemployed, they've been educated to say, I want an iPhone, I want a Mercedes Benz, I want to have dinner at the fanciest restaurants. And so I've seen in other countries where this has happened, you see immense amount of crime. I was in Brazil. You know what the best business for young people is in Brazil? It's a drug trade, the drug industry. It's a way to get the fastest, easiest money is by selling drugs. And it's a massive, massive crisis. So in our country, we can see that also emerging. The second point on that triangle again is the ecological crises. So all of these, what I'm saying, are mentioned in the NEP, but they're mentioned in one sentence. And to understand what's happening and what is the need of education in our time, we need to understand these crises a bit deeper. And then we can see what it's like if somebody has cancer. If I say, oh, they have cancer, and then I'm just putting some bandages on their body, it's not a very sufficient response, is it? So what I'm trying to say is that we need to understand the depth of the crisis. So the second one is the ecological crises. The last 100 years of development have severely destroyed the soil, the water, the forests, and the air quality of our country. And if you see it all over, I meet with leading environmentalists all the time, we are in almost in an ecological breakdown situation. And if you see that how much of our education system today is basically, again, encouraging people to consume and consume and consume, not to conserve. We are generating a nation of consumers. And that because, and I would link that to the education system, because when you don't feel good about yourself, when you feel I'm not good enough, I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not happy enough, then what does the system tell you? Go and buy something, show off, have a big party, go into debt, go into EMI. That's what's happening all over. I know all of you would know in your own communities, how much show off is the level of showing off increasing or decreasing? It's increasing, and it's unnecessarily, it's wasteful. And that is all the educated people who are doing this kind of thing. There was a poster, I see so many strong women, so many sisters sitting in the audience. I have to share this with you. We have a poster in our center, in our university, which says if women started loving themselves and their bodies, think about how many companies would go out of business. So where is this thing happening from? You know, we have to go deeper. The ecological crisis, bring people into deep relationship with nature. We are locking kids up all day in classrooms, and the amount of time climbing trees, being in the fields, connecting with the soil, swimming in lakes and rivers has decreased radically in just one generation. So I would say that we need to reconnect to nature as part of this in a very deep, profound way. And that means we have to get out of the classrooms. The third crisis, again, put your hands up for the triangle, please. Yes, the third point. So I've covered two. One is unemployment. The other is ecological. And the third is mental health. And there is a mental health epidemic happening in our country. And I again would implicate the education system, because so much pressure on the kids, so much anxiety in the kids is happening because of the education system. We could never imagine so much suicide happening. If you go, I live in Rajasthan. You must have heard of Kota, the famous suicide city. That is all because of the education system. And so either you have kids who are going into depression, or we have a huge, alongside that, huge amount of kids, particularly in urban areas, who are going into drugs. alcohol and drugs. Even I grew up in the US, I think Sudha told you. When I was in class 6, class 7, American students were in my classes were already starting to do drugs and alcohol. And that is because of an education system that takes away meaning and purpose and connection. If you feel alone all the time, if you don't feel like you're doing anything useful, then one looks for escape forms. And so these are forms of escape. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. And I think that we need all these 3 points. There's 2 things to note out. One is, I would again argue, they are directly because of the way we've organized education the last 100 years. They're outcomes of the education system. And the second thing is that any of these points, if they continue, can lead to total system breakdown, total chaos, total breakdown in our country. And we need to be taking much more stronger steps, stronger efforts, reimagining the education system. And that's what's brought me to this point in my last 25 years. I resigned from the UNESCO 25 years ago precisely because of this, because I felt we need to do something much more radically different. And so I applaud all of you. I applaud the organizers for giving this opportunity. So now let me come back briefly to talking about play. So what is play? Play, I would say, can be talked about as spontaneous, self-organized, emotionally connecting, meditative presencing. It's a form of meditation. When you're playing in a state of free play, if you observe children, they are fully present there. They're not worrying about the past. They're not worrying about their futures. They're fully present. It's a very deep form of meditation. Now, unfortunately, in our country, play is been seen bad by the education system as something bad. It's something that's a waste of time. It's something that is dirty. You know, what if I remember being scolded every day growing up when I would go and play in the mud. I was building forts. We'd build ramps and forts and all kinds of things. And every day I'd come home muddy and dirty, and my mother would be so upset with me. But those were times when my most creative genius was in operation. My imagination was in operation. So the thing about play, which is very interesting, play might be the most dangerous thing in society. Free play, because it cannot, I'm saying it's dangerous to the system, to the people in power, because play cannot be controlled easily. Play is in the hands of the learners. Play can never be in the hands of the teachers. Free play can never be in the hands of any bureaucrat or policymaker. Play can only be in the hands of learners. We can kill it, which is what's happening. We can kill creativity, which is what's happening in schools, not only in India, but it's well acknowledged all over the world that the same schooling model, whether it's in Finland, whether it's in America, whether it's in UK or Australia, these models are all killing kids' creativity. And there's been no serious response to that by policymakers in any country in the world. But if we want to respond to that, that means we would have to create different reference points for play. So I would offer you that we don't need to go to Finland or Harvard or any of these places to learn about free play. Where we need to go back to is our villages. Our own villages are the places that we need to go. Our own stories like Eklavya are the places we need to go to actually find a different way out of the kind of messes that we've created in the last 100 years. And I would say that for me, the village journey has been interesting. So I have a lot of friends these days who talk about systems thinking and complexity and what it means and how kids should be learning to become systems thinkers. So I looked in the village and I saw one thing that's so powerful. What's one of the greatest forms of play that creates systems thinking? Does anyone know? Anyone know? This whole culture of riddles. Riddles. Riddles connect us beyond the linear reductionist mindset. We have to think outside of the box always for a riddle. So should I share a riddle with you all? One of my favorite riddles I'll share with you. So Lambi si sadak, beach mein adak, end mein end mein char Pepsis or ek thumbs up. Does anyone know what this is? Lambi si sadak, beach mein adak, end mein char Pepsis or ek thumbs up. Any guess? Can you put your hand up if everyone knows? Is it making sense to you? Everyone knows Hindi, I assume, right? You all know Hindi? No? Does everyone know Hindi? Yes? So did you understand what I'm saying? Lambi sadak, beach mein adak, end mein char Pepsis or ek thumbs up. Does anyone know what it is? You can talk to your friends. You can ask them if they know. Just take 10 seconds. So it's our arm, right? Lambi si sadak, beach mein adak, end mein char Pepsis or ek thumbs up. Got it. So we have this tremendous culture of riddles that was there in our villages, and it creates a lot of free thinking and creativity. Also in the villages, I observed in Rajasthan at least, they make stone walls. Have you seen these stone walls? Without any cement, without anything, they make perfect stone wall constructions. And each stone wall, if you think about it, making that, I've done it myself, it's like putting a three-dimensional puzzle together. So what we are giving in schools and by buying the kids toys, by the way, I'm very much against plastic toys and all these kind of toys we give, because anything can be made a toy by kids. So even if they're making a stone wall, that is a three-dimensional puzzle versus the kind of toys which are flat puzzles. Or if you see, a lot of friends today are promoting Lego. Lego is, again, perfectly organized. Nature is not Lego. Lego is not nature. Nature is all uber-covered, weird things, and people have to use a lot of sensibility to bring them together. So many things. Or taking care of animals. Again, in the village, a tremendous way of playing and learning. So many of these things we have lost in the modern schooling system. I would actually argue that children in the villages are much more intelligent and aware of their surroundings than people in the cities. There's a beautiful poster, another one in our university, which we have two things. One is, how many brands can a child recognize? So today we'll recognize Nike, McDonald's, Adidas, all of these. And then juxtaposed against it is how many plants can a child recognize? And today I have even engineering students, computer students, who do not know the difference between a tomato plant and a haldi plant and a bangan plant. So this is how much we don't even know our basic food systems. We don't know anything, and we're considering ourselves educated. I like to say, just think about this. I call it the Pada Likha Anvishwasi syndrome. Pada Likhe Anvishwasi. And what it is, tell me, who wastes more water? Pade Likhe Anpad. Who eats more junk food? Pade Likhe Anpad. Right? Who is involved in more corruption? Pade Likhe Anpad. So we are giving all this education, but I have a big question of what is the value of that education? What is the value of that education, of the basic things of our life? We are not. Who is more creative? Pade Likhe or Unpad? Unpad people, they're much more creative. They have a huge jugaad capacity, much more than our IIT students. So what I'm saying is that we need to think very differently about play. It is very powerful. The last thing I would just like to leave you with is that part of the most important part of play might be this idea of resilience. Do you know about resilience? Eklavya had a tremendous amount of resilience. That was one of his qualities, resilience and humility. And today I'm finding so many educated youth, particularly from the private schools, to be highly fragile. anything small goes wrong in their life, they fall, they go into depression, they even will think of suicide, all of these things. Resilient means that we don't have any fear of failure. We actually embrace failure as one of the most powerful learning aids, learning friends of ours. Every time we fail, it gives us new insights. And school, unfortunately, teaches us to hide failure, to fear failure, to run away from failure, right? So we need to try to come and play. Play isn't great, but you play, you're free. You're not afraid of failing. You can be free to test all kinds of things, play with different materials, come out of your comfort zone. So I think that if we want to deal with the different crises, we need to build a model of education that builds resilience, inner resilience, right? If we don't have that, we will have a huge breakdown in society. So the last thing is I want to leave you with 4 practical things around where I would think that we need to reimagine education. First point is what I call democratic learning. The children in my university, the students, we call them Kojis, seekers. They decide what they want to learn, when they want to learn, how they want to learn, and most importantly, from who they want to learn. So can we open up this democratic, we claim we're a democracy, but that has to start from our classrooms, from our schools, from our families. Can we give children more decision-making power? We have one of my gurus, was a Gandhian here, Dayal Chand Soni. He worked for 50 years on Netalim, and he told me once, real democracy does not start with choosing your politicians. Real democracy starts when you can choose your own gurus. So can we give that choice to children that they can decide what they want to learn, how they want to learn? That means we have to, for that to happen, we have to change the timetable. This idea of 45-minute periods is again for a factory worker. It's not for a human being. Do any of you do anything creative, like cooking or filmmaking or photography or theater or writing, poetry? Anyone who knows anything, does anything different, creative, they would know that it takes around 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes to get into a mood, a flow. And then after that, you might be there 5 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. When I'm making a film, even I go to the toilet, I'm thinking about the film. Even I go to dinner, my wife gets so annoyed with me because I'm thinking about the film. And so, we do not give children that space and time to actually go into do things deeply. What schooling is doing, the way it's organized, the timetable creates superficial level thinking, surface level thinking. You're not allowed to explore things deeply. So my daughter, for example, when she was growing up, I used to think her concentration was very poor. And then I observed her. One of the things among many things, she's a musician, she's an artist, she's a fashion designer, she's a chef. One of the things I noticed when she was painting was that she can sit 7-8 hours on one painting. I've never seen such deep concentration. But if she was in school, she would have been labeled ADHD, her poor concentration, all of that. But if you give a different design, you can see all kinds of talent of children coming out. The third thing I would say is we need to think about how to value real experiences much more. Right now, the school, at the end of the day, still values, what's the thing that's valued? It's the exam scores. That's how your salaries are also determined, your promotion, everything is how are the children performing on exam. But real learning starts with experiential learning. And unless we value it for parents, like even I was growing up, I did 100 different activities, but my parents were always upset with me. They said, you're wasting your time. Even when I travel, which is traveling one of the most important experiences of life, even when I travel, they would say, no, you're wasting your time. You should be focusing. You need to get even better marks. You have to be the topper at Harvard. You have to do this and that. And luckily, I never listened to them. And I always did the things I wanted outside of the classroom. Learning has been much more powerful than in the classroom. When I worked at UNESCO, I interviewed more than 10,000 people. I asked them, where is your most powerful learning experience of your life? Share one of those with me. And to this day, nobody ever shared that the powerful learning experience was in the classroom to do with the syllabus. Everyone said it was with my grandparents, or it was when I was traveling, or it was when I was with my friends, or when I was working at this job, so many other things. Nobody, we need to reflect on this. Nobody has said that the most powerful learning experience for me in my life was with my classroom experience, or with the textbook, or with the exam. No, it was something much different. So if we learn from that, we can find a different path to, so what I've done, all of my models of education came from my own experience of learning outside of the classroom. And how can I give that gift to my students, to the learners? Get out of the classroom. Don't waste your life in classrooms. Life is too precious, too short for being wasted in classrooms. We need to explore. The world is much more magical and beautiful and amazing. And the more that I can get our children engaged with it. And the world also needs our children to take on the real problems. So, there are so many crises, as I discussed, happening. Even I know in different places around India and the world where children are working on these things. Children are rebuilding the soil. They're making the soil in their organic farms. Children are trying to take leadership in running their schools, their alternative schools. So there are many opportunities for this. So I would like to conclude here, and I'm saying there's a possibility in our country for a learning revolution. There's a deep need for a learning revolution. And I invite you all to join us in that revolution. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Jain, for connecting to us all the way from there. Can we have another 3 minutes. One quick question, if you can, if you're okay with it. One question from...
I would like to, Subha, can I suggest you use that 3 minutes and they talk to their neighbor and talk about one thing that they found really interesting or really disturbing about what I was saying.
Okay, so the time is up to you. Talk to your neighbor. Understand one takeaway from the session, quickly.
I think we have lots of questions, Dr. Jain. I'm invisible because they have not focused me. There's no need to focus also. So Dr. Biswajit Saha is also here from the CBSE. And at the same time, there are many questions from the audience. So may I request you to take the question, please.
So my question is, the cactus, the camel nose eating the thorny cactus makes the tongue bleed, but the camel goes back to the cactus again and again. And I think most of us here, they know things like resilience, compassion. These words are a great thing to do, and the world is encashing on those words by writing self-help books and other things. But my question to you, sir, is how do we make people unlearn and, like what you stated, as back to villages by sacrificing this? So how do we convince them to do that? There's an opportunity cost, you see.
Yes. So, Sudhaji, I would suggest let us be with the questions. This is a great question. What's your name?
I'm Nivedita.
What?
Nivedita.
Okay. So, let us take a few more questions and be with the questions. I mean, that's a big question you're asking. The short answer is to first start becoming aware of your own unlearning journey. Before you go and tell anybody else, start thinking about your own unlearning journey, what you feel you need to unlearn, and then I don't have enough time to answer it deeply.
Gosh.
So I would say you can contact me, I'll give you my email or my WhatsApp, and you can write to me and we can discuss it properly.
So,
Let's listen to a few more questions.
Yeah, there's one more question, please.
Thank you for enlightening us various things. I'm Dr. Maipati Srinivas, working for Anurag University. We have these reflections many times when it comes to the practical implementation. As you know that now we are coming up with new education policy. There are many, again, we have got, there are rules and regulations. At the individual level, we are able to implement certain things which are there in our tweet again, when we go to the classrooms again, the same scenario is there. How to overcome this? Sir, can you please suggest us? Thank you very much.
So I couldn't fully hear the question. Sorry, because it's coming on the mic, the echo is very bad in this coming through in the system. Can you say it slowly again?
So the most important thing, as you said, that we all agree with the statement, what you said, like when it comes to the learning, no learning is there most of the times in the villages and all. And when it comes to our schooling system, which exactly what we are talking about, pedagogy and how to, about the schedules, timetables and all. But at individual level, we are able to make certain changes in teaching and learning process, especially. And how can we bring about massive change? And I think now how we can bring the change in teaching and learning process, especially in unlearning and relearning the things.
So, okay, I got it. I think you're saying how do we bring a massive change? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I would say again, this is a longer conversation. I run a 1-week course on this, we call it reimagining education, but you can email me if you want to discuss it more. But what I would say in short is that first, you have to understand today that this system of education is not our system of education. It was imposed by the British and I call it factory schooling. Initially it was in the West imposed to create factory workers, slaves, and in India we know it was created to start Babu slaves. Right? What Macaulay called Macaulay's children. And so we have to admit that what you are all doing is perpetuating a system of slavery. If you admit that, then you can reimagine. Otherwise, you're just going to try to make the system of slavery more efficient. What MEP is doing is trying to make a system of slavery, mental slavery, more efficient, more effective. What I'm talking about is that we have to liberate ourselves. We are talking about the next round of the freedom struggle. The freedom struggle is on right now. We are not, if we read Hind Swaraj, Gandhiji's Hind Swaraj, I would recommend you to read it. You'll understand that the freedom struggle is still alive and needed. And what you can do at your level is you can help children, as I said, when I help children in schools, what I help them is to escape. Just yesterday, I was counseling some people, young people, they just finished their 10th. I said, take a gap year. Take a year, explore the world. I have students, even the interesting thing, even the Ivy League universities, they put out a circular about 5 years back. They said, we encourage our students to take a gap year before they enter the university because all they have is bookish knowledge. All they have is memorizing and nothing original. Let them travel, let them work, let them experience the world. Then when they come to the classroom, they'll have a different energy, different purpose, different thing. So one of the things I do is help children escape from the classroom and try to go out in the real world. Do projects, go and volunteer. Encourage your students to go and volunteer. Even, unfortunately, some of the best colleges encourage internships, but they don't value them. There's not a value placed on them, so most people cheat. They just get a signature. So many students come to me and say, oh, we have to do an internship. Can you just give us a letter? We don't really want to do anything. So I never do that for them. I try to engage them. But we need to encourage students to actually value experiencing the world, not experiencing doing well only on the exam or question. Even I tell children today, we have a projects going on and we have some unschooling projects happening in government schools in Delhi. And I encourage those parents, I said, पढ़ाई के साथ साथ हर बच्चों के पास 2-3 हुनर होना चाहिए. And so let them have the freedom. You cannot learn a hunar sitting in the classroom. You have to be out, you have to experiment, you have to play. So as teachers, what I can invite you to is first to help liberate your students, get them out of the classrooms, get them away from the textbooks. These are all fake. If you think of your own life, even today, if all of us went and took the class 12 exams, all of us sitting in this room would be failing that class exam. class 12 exam. If I brought it right now and gave it to everybody, everyone would fail. Because we didn't learn anything real. We didn't learn anything useful. We didn't learn anything meaningful. It was all fake. Even going to Harvard, I would say it was all fake. So that's why I decided never to send my child to school, because it's a waste of lives. So what I'm saying is that let us encourage children to get out of the classroom, get into real life projects, work with people, meet different kinds of people, and let us also, in your capacity, you can do a tremendous amount of experiments. That's what I started the talk with. I said, MEP will only be meaningful if teachers and parents and children, the learners, they start experimenting. Nobody from the top can force us to do anything in our country. Every single policy that has come out in the last 60 years has failed miserably because it's coming as a top-down thing. But as a bottom-up movement of people who want to change the education system, there's a lot that we can do. And I can have another session with you to discuss those ideas much more practically.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Jain. That would be lovely. You started and set the tone for quite a revolution in the field of education. We would follow that. Thank you, Professor Jain, once again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
No, ma'am.
Namaste. So nice to meet you all. I'll put my, I don't know if the chat working, but I'll give you my manishatswaraj.org is my, thank you, Sudaji. So manishatswaraj.org, and I invite you all to that for some time to visit us and see all of our radical and creative projects. Thank you again so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome the next speaker, Dr. Biswajit Saha, a man who is very popular with all of us being principals and teachers. I've seen him quite a good number of times on the virtual mode. We have been with you pretty many times, sir, though you have never seen us, but your talk has always been on examinations and we were there with you. Let me take a minute to introduce him. Dr. Biswajit Saha is currently working as a Director, Skill Education and Trainings in the Central Board of Secondary Education, Delhi, from December 2011. He is involved with the design of curriculum, development of textbooks, and organizing various teachers training programs, besides representing CBSE in various national and international committees for the holistic development of education of this country. So far, Dr. Saha has edited more than 75 books, which were published by the CBSE. Prior to, did I hear a clap there? 75 books of editing. And that's what he was saying. Don't forget that you're always learners. Prior to joining CBSE, he has worked at the Government Engineering College, Agartala, for more than 10 years as assistant professor and head of the computer department. Dr. Saha has handled execution of various development projects with the World Bank, the MHRD, the Ministry of Information Technology, as well as the research projects of AICTE and UGC. He has actively participated in the drafting, which is the important document that we're talking of, the National Skill Qualification Framework, or the NSQF, notified by the Government of India in 2012 and 13 respectively. He has contributed towards drafting of the credit framework for skills and education by All India Council of Technical Education. In addition, Dr. Saha has visited various universities and institutions, schools in Germany, Australia, Oman, UAE, and Singapore to understand the best practices of those countries. As I said, Dr. Saha, you are a very popular man amongst us in the CBSE board. May I request you to please join us in the session.
Right off. Can you see? Yeah. I think I should see you. Good morning. All the senior management of both DPS as well as Pallavi, and of course the senior dignitaries from SCRT, NCRT, different university, college representative, and of course the school leaders. It is a privileged moment for me to witness, and also while Professor Jain was speaking, तो इन्होंने ग्राउंड अच्छा तैयार कर दिया है. Now, the topic which was assigned to me is globalizations of management and technical education. Now, if I take this Ecolab model to its other trajectory and also look into the perspective initially with the term internalizations and followed by internationalization. So, internalization, of course, as you all are from this education fraternity, you are trying to drive today with your own idea and capturing the student idea and creating enabling ecosystems altogether. Now, if I talk about internationalization, then definitely that is also happening because I've seen the good number of experts are from a different country. Now, that is the primary things of understanding the others model. So, Shudhaji was mentioning that the Finnish systems of education, uska upar bhi some expert had spoken yesterday. Some university professors from China and other countries are also very much here. Now, when it is a selective pockets, inclusions of selective pockets from one country is working with the other country, then the perspective of internationalizations happen. Now, that way, the primary objective of two institutions backed with the two government policy. Now, whenever from that basis, one way it is very easy because the TOR for agreeing on memorandum of understanding or what kind of education's model a country, the giver country, or of course in terms of joint consumer country is going to act upon. On the contrary, if we look into the receiving sides are also emitting a new mode of learning. For whom? For the giver. So, and that way, it's a freedom space we are making through which information flows like a river. Now, with that basis, for multiple decades, it's happening in India. So, first of all, that is one can definitely utter. Earlier, state versus state. One state university is not talking with the central university, but very happy to work with a university of neighborhood country or maybe elsewhere. Similarly, there is a disjointment in terms of government-run university versus the privately managed university. Is it true or something on assumption I am speaking? Huh? So in Andhra Pradesh and in Telangana, there are multiple good universities, both technical, management, and general education. But in this kind of forum, definitely one gentleman was asking a very relevant question that in this forum, some way, by virtue of the speaker's potential, we got excited. And for momentarily, our hormone gives some kind of energy to our brain to think with the speaker's light. But whenever we went back to or go back to our original situation, the inertia remains as it is. So, it's very easy to say, embrace change. But करेगा कौन? हाँ? तो हम ही लोगों को ही करना है. So first of all, before laying the foundations of globalization, let us look into a use case model of localized cohort. सरकार बोलते हैं ना, local to vocal, vocal to global. So that way, we can primarily aim for the globalization. So this is my first point. The second point would be how to do it. Can we think of a cohort where university, irrespective of its tagline, private, government, central, ISO 9000, NAC accredited A++, or not yet, school board, I will definitely, my wish list or my ask should be towards that. How it can be connected with local to school. What would be the incentive? Private colleges are spending more than crore in their advertisement, and they are putting many management agents. Unlike, I'll spell after, my third point would be how the globalization's message is coming in India. So they are spending huge amount. Instead of spending, you spend. But the effectiveness of so-called expenditure, how it is suiting the need, means at the end of this is the admission session started. Abhi, the catchment areas mein pura antenna khara rahega. And especially these belt, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra. यहाँ पे गंगा जमुना को छोड़ दिया, यहाँ गोदावरी, कृष्णा, कावेरी सबको बुला रहा है. यहाँ का पानी का क्वालिटी अच्छा है. So that is very much required. First of all, convincing the neighbors. सर्टिफिकेट कौन देगा? मैं दिस इरिलेवेंट एक यूज केस बोल रहा हूँ. इन केस ऑफ एनी मैट्रिमोनियल साइट्स वेरिफिकेशंस, शादी में लोकली बोथ फॉर बॉयज एंड गर्ल्स, दोनों का पेरेंट्स यूजुअली लोकल से पूछते हैं परिवार कैसा है, लड़का कैसा है, लड़की कैसा है. तो नेबर का सर्टिफिकेट जरूरी होता है ना. तो इसलिए इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए ऑल्सो, अगर नॉर्थर्न बेल्ट से कोई लोग यहाँ पे आएंगे तो मे बी सुधा जी से पूछेंगे ये कॉलेज कैसा है, क्योंकि उनको जानते हैं. सुनीता जी से पूछेंगे फोन करके, ये आपका बगल में एक अच्छा कॉलेज का एड देखा है, कैसा है, यूनिवर्सिटी नया सेटअप हुआ है, कैसा है. अगर वो बता देगा हाँ सुना है, बट we have not yet got the opportunity to interact with the management or not yet seen, to expect that kind of jawab. And that's why your infrastructure and the school infrastructure need to be aligned to suit the requirement of each other. Now here new education policy is a huge vision document. Now first step of implementing is, because higher education, my journey is a reverse journey. I used to teach in university, colleges, then now managing the school activity. So here is very easy from the upper ladder to criticize the lower ladder. And disjoint का document देखेंगे तो Google search करेंगे तो there are more than 1,000 papers are there about the system integrations and system difference. Now how to minimize and similarly, any good university का campus, evening 5 बजे या somewhere 4:30 और जो teachers ज़्यादा discipline and punctual 4 बजे घर ही देखेगा. Of course, tech cities में biometric attendance थोड़ा mandatory कर दिया इसलिए, otherwise हमारा जैसा northern belt होगा तो बैग लेके भागो. So optimally, can we think of suiting the need of each other? One college, 2 schools. One university, 5 schools. Then the local can connect with the institute. Faculty members, admission के लिए in Delhi NCR there is a huge problem. So one can manage each other requirement. Post that there is the topic suggests that management education and technical education, which essentially the higher education counterpart is managing, who may not have that quality teacher. So you can, a special lecture session, Mr. Jain was mentioning the out of the box or out of the textbook. So project-based learning, the competency-based educations, what are being emphasized in the new education policy, it is not possible without your local participation. So that way, every day, beyond the textbooks, we can think with this kind of pattern. Now coming back to my original agenda, that globalizations, what is happening in this city? Now, there is a social changes of aspiration. जिसका पास थोड़ा डॉलर में कमाई होता है और इस बेल्ट में काफी परिवार का certain percentage US and other countries में जा रहा है, तो naturally बाकी लोगों का मन में whatever may be the reasons, there is a aspirations. Earlier in our times, for PG educations, the good number of students used to go after BTech, B, or any damn course. They used to go to the US university, Australian university. But now, many of the students are aspiring to go after 10+2. And by name of globalizations, the other countries are taking the advantage of demographic dividend present in this part of the world. So, the way private colleges in India are having a multiple agents in multiple states, similarly, name a university. There are few universities in the world जो अपना एडवर्टाइज नहीं देते हैं. बाकी यूनिवर्सिटी, name a country, they are by name of International Education Fair. They are coming to India, and with whose help? Their respective embassy, the industry forum, and nobody has stopped, because here is a without governmental intervention, a private entity in India can connect with top-most Ivy League university in USA and generate business officially. I'm not criticizing any university over there. Definitely they have a good curriculum, very research blended faculty member. Now, how to bring this quality here by name of globalization? Because in case of internationalization, there is only one or two country specific. Now, by name of globalization, there is a peer requirement evolved over a period of time because the most of the economy seems to be managed by a good number of MNC. Now, the potential MNC's requirement of employment, although it has not been mentioned the tagline, but most of the good university get a definite campus placement or post-campus placement, the way it happened in Indian Institute of Technology or Indian Institute of Management in India. So, but they had the mechanisms of collaborations with a single country. Suppose IIT Madras, it had a collaborations with Germany. IIT Delhi, it had a collaborations with France. So that kind of nomenclature, similarly for IIM also, the culture evolved in that way. Now it is a matter of how to that model, because if you really want to look into the globalizations, then we have to understand a 3-4 model. Suppose in Europe, from Brussels-centric, certain strategy had been adopted for all European Union countries, so that inter-country transfer, especially in the higher education's domain, it made very easy. But there was a linguistic barrier. It is for India, it is only when the English become a medium of instruction, we are potentially aiming those countries. There are free education, Germany and some other. Without that prerequisite, they cannot migrate to those countries for taking the higher studies. So, if we look into the globalization perspective in terms of English only, the medium of instruction, then is it justified? Then also we are actually catering the needs in a selective pocket. And why I am mentioning this, it is pertaining to UG level education. For PG level education, most of the developed nations is offering English medium courses. So we need to understand that basket, and looking into the perspective of Americanizations, there were a lot of freedom in terms of research development, and one way potentially bringing the global talented student to their country to pursue the PhD program or postdoc, and where the government funding is also there, and parallelly industry foundations related culture is very much tuned so far. Now for us, there is a specific industry oriented requirements are there, but institute industry interactions, it is only a model strategy which is visible in every institute. Hardly 2 to 3% engineering colleges in the country is actually doing in real terms of industry institute interaction. Now, blaming the systems is very easy, but the individual faculty member, other admin staff, if they take real initiative to connect with the local industry, MNC, and of course any other big player, including the government managed industries and others, there is a lack of communication. So in terms of globalizations, first effort should be, I should not say it's unlearned, it's a positioning an individual so that you can communicate with the other, no matters
at what level institute, industry, or any individual social organizations is. So with that foundations, if we write, I think then there would be a time. You write any US university a simple mail, they will respond back within 24 hours, if not in 48 hours. It is not system generated. An individual is writing. There can be a questions. We are receiving more than thousands emails. It is not every day we are receiving, any institute is receiving 1,000 emails. Over a period of time, our lethargic attitudes help us to dump the inbox like anything. So, the time management is also very much essential in that respect. So, considering this European model, आप लोगों को bored लग रहा है? Huh? This is actually not my topic. So, excuse ले लेते हैं. So, similarly, the Australian university took the similar path, and they are also trying to showcase their strength to the world. China, on the other hand, because like India, they also have a huge requirement, and unlike Indian, you know, the most number of students sent by a country to the other university, it could be, if I am not wrong, China, in higher education space. And now there is a strategy to pass the seat, especially from Canada. There is a specific algorithm is there. One student can enroll directly at grade 11 there. The potential chance of getting a good university over there would be more high than that of the others. Now these days, the SAT assessment is nullified by a good number of US universities. So that means they are looking a potential threat through SATs. Ultimately, their seats won't be going to fill up for a particular session. What it happened in case of CUT, good number of university seats are still lying vacant. I'm not criticizing, but this is the real fact of assessment strategy. So, considering all those dynamism, universities are that way is trying to put a conversations with the local partner. Now, new education policy in terms of globalizations also is given a specific window where UGC's recent circular is helping the partnering with the other universities. So, so-called 21st century skill, so-called your this global citizenship skill, ultimately it is the mandated requirement what World Economic Forum has emphasized. Now, with the same objective, if we want to work, then what is going to happen with our traditional systems of education delivery? Now, for a moment, let us keep this traditional versus so-called progressive. I'm trying to give another example. In case of Germany and UK, it seems to be a good education model. And it claimed to be a very good education model, Cambridge model of education, because someone yesterday was mentioning that more than 150 countries have adopted it. Now, question is, if it is so good, what is the objective of education? Here in India, everybody should go to the ladder at least to the UG level. Objective. But due to certain facility and other things, we are not able to provide. Now, what is happening there? आप लोगों को मालूम है वहां पे जितना 10+2 पास आउट है क्या सारे बच्चे यूनिवर्सिटी में जाते हैं? माय क्वेश्चन इज व्हाई. थिंक ऑफ अमेरिका. अगर उन देशों का सारे बच्चा अगर यूनिवर्सिटी में जाते हैं, हमारा देश चाइना वालों के लिए, कोरिया वालों के लिए सीट रहता? तो सिस्टम में अगर उतना ही अच्छा है, क्यों नहीं जा रहा? that need to be into. So globalizations could be a mantra. We need to understand their best practice and how it can be customized in the local context. As it is, copy-paste model may not work. So, especially for the management education and your technical education, in case of management education, the local problem, suppose a bridge collapse, how to react? It is local populations and other disaster issues are there which may not be relevant, whatever curriculum understanding is there, the other crisis management. So, maybe many a times, good university here, in case of management education, they try to blindly copy the Harvard model or London School of Economics model, will not work. We have to understand, okay, globalization's tagline, you can keep the best practices, you can, but every country has its own model of understanding. So that local context need to be mapped in the curriculum, then only you can definitely provide a good way of understanding. The fifth criteria, in case of technology education, definitely the multiple model will work, because more or less it is same, only the understanding and student perspective get changed whenever we change the demography. So here, my humble request would be more and more hybridization can really help to promote the globalization technique for the future. मेरे पास सुधा जी और कितना टाइम है? हाँ? Another 15 minutes. ज़्यादा नहीं हो रहा है, लोग होल्ड नहीं हो जाएगा पूरा पूरी. I think let me pause here. In case of मैं प्रोफेसर जैन की तरह स्थिति में नहीं जाना चाहते हो, क्वेश्चन का आंसर बोलना चाह रहे हैं, but paucity of time. So maybe let me pause here. Take 2-3 questions, and thereafter maybe I can continue for another. What do you say? थोड़ा आप लोगों को मोबाइल हाथ में लेने का भी मौका मिल जाएगा. मना कर दिया. अब freedom. Please, anyone, any question connected with this higher.
Dr. Saha, that was a wonderful way of asking us to get associated 5 schools to 1 university, right? So we have colleges, and I think, from KG to PG, I think, we can look up. But at the same time, you're asking us to twin with the best or with our own identified colleges.
It depends. It depends the how handshake works.
Mm-hmm.
Some is if a group is running its own institute, so first of all, that collaboration should be there within its own group, and then also connecting with the others, and also government institute. And how? Because the benefit of collaboration is multiple way. So government schools students, the behavioral pattern vis-a-vis the other pattern of the private schools and college behavior, that also, and faculty can actually from the diverse background, they can do the dynamic research.
Thank you.
Get involved in multiple, because it is not only the curriculum. NEP एक बार भी curriculum का ऊपर focus नहीं कर रहे. I have seen it's always teacher centric, and moreover, let me assure you, ऑफ सेकेंडरी एजुकेशन का 29,000 स्कूल में कभी भी कोई भी जाके चौकीदारी नहीं करते हैं जे आप ये कराओ ये नहीं करना है. So there is a huge autonomy already there, and somebody raised that rules regulation vis-a-vis is implementation. It is always a person. Nobody from any central agency or state agency is actually, इसका पास टाइम कहाँ है, नंबर 1. नंबर 2, मैन पावर कहाँ है. हाँ, ऑटोमेटेड सिस्टम्स होने से आप लोगों को हो सकता है रियल टाइम बहुत कुछ भरना पड़ सकता है. बट आज का तारीख में, टू माई ग्रेटर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, स्कूल, कॉलेज, यूनिवर्सिटी, regulations is there, but largely it is a individual vice chancellor, individual head of the department, individual faculty, जो classroom, even head of the department to class teacher, there is a lot of gap in understanding. होता ही नहीं है. And इकट्ठा only if some event is going to happen, then only they sit together. So the child-centric propositions के लिए, first of all, नो योर चाइल्ड थिंक योर चाइल्ड कैंपेन चलाना पड़ेगा आप लोगों को. एंड ये जो प्रिस्क्रिप्शन मॉडल है, दैट इज पोर्टफोलियो मॉडल. आई थिंक 5 years बैक ऑल्सो आई ट्राई टू फोकस इन दिस सिटी. दैट इज द क्लासरूम क्लास टीचर व्हेन ट्रांसफरिंग हिज आर नॉलेज टू द नेक्स्ट क्लास, only a mere transcript which has a very little information about the psychology, social strata, daily household affairs, जो क्लास टीचर्स को हो सकता है 30% मालूम है. He or she is not getting opportunity to transfer. So the admin cadre look into this perspective so that sharing of or transferring of individual credential. Otherwise, the new class, even 10+2, 90% लेके कॉलेज फर्स्ट ईयर में जा रहा है. बैकग्राउंड क्या है? Nobody knows. It's only everything works on the assumption basis. Why? AI systems or so-called AI, generative AI में some organizations can come and student registry से लेके portfolio management. Tomorrow, why you are supposed to CV लिख के interview देने का जरूरत क्या है? Everything should be there in the portfolio. देखो, पसंद आए तो पूरा डोमेन में होगा. हाँ, पसंद आए तो लो, नहीं तो छोड़ो, बुलाओ ही मत. टेली कॉलिंग में भी पता चल जाएगा जो रिलेवेंट पोर्टफोलियो है, whether these are evidence based or simply somebody एक ऐसे has been scripted. That is also possible to tell you. Huh? One can. But why to do that?
Thank you so much. Yeah. There's another question.
Sir, I really liked the terminology that you used, industry-institute interactions. We at our schools, we really work on giving internship programs, especially for our grade 10, 11 and 12 students. What kind of doorways can the industry open? Because sometimes we really struggle, because today, for example, I had the Cambridge wing and children get to choose around 13 to 16 different subject combinations. Then when they want to have an experience, we really fall short of, industries where we are really helping our students come on board to have that experience. So what can we look forward in such dimensions so that children actually get that opportunity?
Yes. So for school student, there is a age factor, because we had discussions with, especially with multiple organizations and their association also. Now, first of all, that virtual internship is highly possible. And especially in the technology space, there is an endless option. Okay? Now, very recently, did these virtual internships on sustainability, and that too also Aditya Birla Group. And similar kind of things we can do with the other sectors also. So there are sectoral demands. Now, in case of IT-enabled service, including AI, AR, VR, there is a huge demand. Now, every small organization, if they want to be in their digital ऐसे बनाना है, and then you edit, and then you put the final version. So the entrepreneurial journey of the teachers घर से ही शुरू हो सकता है. And believe me, I met Sanjay sir, he is founder of edX, vice president MIT. जब भी इंडिया में आते हैं, मैंने have idea. You can take endless course without certificate, without a single penny. So micro credential one can earn by sitting at home. तो प्रोफेसर जैन बोल रहा है बैठे भी स्टूडेंट को all such kind of internship, the larger domain are open and we can do. And here, if it is not available, why am I insisting on local collaboration? The college faculty can generate the internship. 2 हफ्ता के लिए उनका पास समय नहीं है तो सामार में 1 हफ्ता के लिए बातें तो होगा, हम तो बातें ही नहीं करने देते हैं, इसलिए वी आर फोर्सिंग द चाइल्ड टू ऑलवेज स्क्रीन का ऊपर रखे. उनको अपॉर्चुनिटी हम दे नहीं रहा है. वी कैन क्रिएट अपॉर्चुनिटी.
Thank you so much.
मेरे को 5 मिनट पहले बता दीजिएगा.
Yes, Dr. Saha.
यू टी ब्रेक, अदरवाइज चाय ठंडा होगा तो सब लोग मेरे को.
नहीं sir. I'm going to stir a hornet's nest. I'm going to stir थोड़ा सा. Difficult question है लेकिन आपको थोड़ा सा help करना है हमको. When we do the practical part, sir, when it comes to sciences, I have lots of people here sitting. The syllabus that we do even today, something that I have done in my CBSE 11th and 12th. Are we looking at some kind of practical reformations there also? Syllabi and the 30 marks. We are looking at 30 marks. I know that.
Marks. So,
can we include some more newer practical techniques, some more skill development programs that can be tested?
Okay.
And when you said 5 p.m. my school grounds are free and my school is free, what were you hinting at?
Okay. Let me come back. Good question. So first of all, the ethical practices of individual group, both government and private schools management, the ethical practice, and which is very relevant in the technology space also, because how to use ChatGPT, how to use AI for positive use case, the ethics becomes a key point of discussion. Now with this I am trying to answer your question. So for practical, it is a mere matter of declarations by the CBSE that we are increasing the practical marks. But I don't know, there is a negative sense which act upon in Delhi that, and that is critically after data analytics only I am saying this answer. Many schools abruptly, when board gives that facility that open the portal to upload the practical marks, then they becomes Jagat Data. There are many schools are being criticized in the market. It is equally important for the university teachers. They give 20 out of 20, 30 out of 20, and range started from 27.5 to 30. There are many schools whose brackets say, I don't find any wrong with them. But question is, whenever we are evaluating the theory paper and we try to analyze with the different metrics, the answer is just awarding the mark. If it is justified way with projects, with real terms analysis, बच्चों ने मेहनत किया, टीचर का साथ किया, no matters. There we forget the model. So yeah, that's why practical component, project-based activity, many subject में नहीं था, we introduced. And for a cross check, we are sending one teachers to other school so that they can personally look into. The dynamism is there is also more often. I don't want to explain in a forum. Okay, but the second part of your question, which is very important. So industry and school can run afternoon, and for that matter, it could be short course also. So CBSE under Skill Hub initiative, we are allowing the school to collaborate with the college or local industry to run a short course beyond 2 p.m. And for that matter, you can charge. And there is a special provision under PMKBY 4.0 where you can claim funding from Ministry of Skill Development and Enterprise. Now, the larger objective, if these short courses in future, if these are creditized, then it will act as a micro-credential to take admission in the university, number one. If not in the admission, later on, if university is offering a particular course, maybe on multiculturalism, maybe on tourism, maybe on insurance, if you have already earned 2 credits and that course is 5 credits, if syllabus mapping is there, then the child can be exempted to re-appear for these 2 credits. Directly the other component can be earned by a particular child and university. So this kind of pathway, my humble request to all of you, just go through the National Credit Framework in your leisure time, then it will help you to understand that gravity. And also under PMKBY or otherwise, school is free to collaborate with anyone in the neighborhood and offer courses both for its own student, also from the neighborhood. Okay?
We have another 5 minutes to close. Any one question?
पीछे से एक भी क्वेश्चन नहीं आया. हाँ?
Since the tagline of is vision to action, so action is very important. So my question to you is, sir, that when you mentioned that collaboration, schools, group of schools and college, now what about the mindset of those teachers? Because as a trainer, what I see, an auxiliary teacher, assistant teacher, and a teacher, he said, oh, you're an assistant teacher. You're not very important. And then also we see that in higher grades, that they don't value that much the pre-primary teacher and grade 1 and 2 teacher. So then when here we are talking about collaboration with school and colleges, where I've seen among college professors, oh, to college hai padha hai. That kind of attitude, right? So what do you do then?
For that, I think it's very much relates to the first question, how to unlearn. Is everything's mindset is starting with mind. So positioning an individual, I have in between, I try to spell out that at what level you are, that equity is another big issue is trying to address by any. I am trying to refer this document only so that it can be internalized. So one individual, whatever maybe his or her structure, but the human being. So is it necessary an individual is always trying to map himself or herself with his or her designation? Happens both in school, college and university. There is why I am requesting to creating a cohort, because we have seen while conducting UGC NET long back in 2013-14, we have seen the behavior of good university professor how they are behaving with even with the CBSE officer, CBSE school wala. This is an attitudinal problem. Overnight it khatam nahi hoga. But when the potential of one is known by the other, then only through collaboration, respect for each other will grow. And that will help us to balance out this problem, your mindset.
Thank you, sir.
Fine? Okay. Thank you very much.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, one last question. Sorry to disturb. You said globalization would impact an education system in every way. But there is a huge gap between the rich and the poor, and urban and the rural areas. So how this globalization would be possible for rural areas as well, in our country especially?
Yeah. See, this is the critical issue. Broadly, the country understood, especially the educationist community understood during the COVID. And this social strata, both in terms of economical background, the facility, and if you look into the dynamisms of higher education worldwide, it is actually the cup of the rich. Cup of rich. I am repeating. Hardly, again, the bracket of 2 to 3%, so-called from any background, because they bloom like anything. Nobody can, no environment, no cloud can stop them. So they came up with their own struggle, maybe putting someone as a role model, and they survived, sustained, and glorified. But worldwide, that model is very much, in case of developed nation, as I have mentioned, the best of the best education model is there, but they also compartmentalize they take the other route. Now the solution, problem everywhere, I am repeating the problem again. The answer could be, first of all, the what model work. Now, I am stressing on hybrid. Now, a teacher, if PS Nacharam or other school, to their YouTube channel, they upload the lecture note or their video lectures of the teachers and question answer interaction, that would be relevant for some remote districts of Telangana, no matters whether the government schools or private schools. So this could be a social, without anything. The same class, without any infrastructure cost, same class is being recorded and puts in the public domain, and monthly, if needed, interactions can be there with the child in local mother tongue, not in English. I think so many doubt of history, so many doubt of English can be generalized. So this is for the school. Similarly for the college, university. Why I am stressing on collaboration? Because some college or university may have a very good studio. पिछले 3 महीना से खोला ही नहीं है, dust. You go there. आप बोलो मेरा lecture record करो. Or I am urging you, this is the high time. Every country is facing the teachers' strike. आपका मॉडल देख के तो दूसरे देश जो ग्लोबलाइजेशन के लिए हम हमेशा फिनलैंड क्या कर रहे हैं, आई हैव सीन द फिनिश स्कूल, वहां पे बच्चा ही नहीं है, 150 बच्चा है और कैंपस है 2 एकड़ का, क्या करेगा बताइए? वो टाइम नहीं देगा, हम टाइम देंगे? यहाँ पे 43 का जगह पे एडिशनल प्रेशर आता है XYZ से टू टेक मोर एडमिशन. सीबीएसई बोल रहे हैं 40 खत्म, आप लोग 53 में क्लास खत्म करते हो, और सरकारी स्कूल्स में 200 भी है. स्टेट क्या करेगा? बट दिस काइंड ऑफ फैसिलिटी एक्सटेंशन इज हाईली पॉसिबल. अगेन आई एग्री विथ हर, इट्स ए माइंडसेट. आपको एंटरप्रेन्योरियल थिंकिंग आना पड़ेगा। मैनेजमेंट आपको सपोर्ट करेगा, आप छोड़ के नहीं जा रहे हो, उसको सपोर्ट कर रहे हो। पैरेलली यू आर हेल्पिंग द होम। जो पॉइंट आप बोल रहे हो, रूरल इकोनॉमी, रूरल इक्विटी, बिकॉज देयर आर लॉट ऑफ रिसर्च स्टडीज आर देयर। प्रेसिडेंट का बेटा और उसका जो एज ग्रुप का बच्चा पढ़ रहा है और किसी एक सीनियर एमएनसी का एमडी का बच्चे, why people are actually aiming to send a particular school? आप हैदराबाद शहर में भी देख लेना, एक दो स्कूल है जहां पे एक स्पेसिफिक कम्युनिटी का मर्सिडीज या अदर सो कॉल ब्रांड का गाड़ी से बच्चा उतरते हैं। They don't want EWS. सरकार कितना भी जबरदस्ती करे, they don't want. वो SCRT एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट से हुलिया जारी होता है, तब जाके डोर खुलता है। 2-3 बार पेरेंट्स आके बोलेगा बड़े बच्चे का साथ छोटा बच्चा रह के बिगड़ जाएगा, उस डर से भी विथड्रॉ कर लेते हैं। एंड देयर इज अनदर प्रॉब्लम आई हैव नॉट एड्रेस्ड इन माय स्पीच, इंक्लूसिवनेस। आई एम गेटिंग ए मल्टीपल पेरेंट रिक्वेस्ट फ्रॉम वेरी गुड स्कूल्स। अभी पिछले हफ्ता आई गॉट ए 2 रिक्वेस्ट फ्रॉम महाराष्ट्र, मुंबई का 2-3 अच्छा स्कूल, एक डिस्ट्रिक्ट और एक कुछ ऑर्थोपेडिक प्रॉब्लम है, बच्चे को एडमिशन। यहाँ ऑल फैसिलिटीज आर देयर, रैम्प है, लिफ्ट है, सेपरेट टॉयलेट है फॉर होम टू हैव द सीबीएसई एफिलिएशन। बट किसके लिए बनाया है? वही बच्चों के लिए, चाहे गरीब बैकग्राउंड चाहे इन्फ्लुएंशियल बैकग्राउंड। आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट ए केस फ्रॉम राजस्थान। ए सीनियर ब्यूरोक्रेट हाई कोर्ट में जाने का बाद भी, 2 बार हाई कोर्ट में जाने का बाद सीबीएसई का हेल्प लेके बच्चे को जयपुर का किसी स्कूल में एडमिशन कराया है। ब्यूरोक्रेट का बच्चा और इवन अगर एक रिक्शा पुलार का बच्चा भी जाएगा, इसका हिम्मत है फाइट करने के लिए अमीरों का स्कूल का साथ। सरकारी स्कूल में भी धक्का, उसमें भी फैसिलिटी नहीं है बोल के मना कर देते। फैसिलिटी पूरा है, अंतरात्मा नहीं। अगर 21st सेंचुरी स्किल्स करना है, सबको इकट्ठा इक्विटी प्लेटफॉर्म में लाना पड़ेगा। देन डेफिनेटली स्लोली, इट्स ए ग्रेजुअल प्रोसेस। एजुकेशन जैसे बेबी स्टेप का द्वारा, नोबेल लॉरेट का नंबर कितना है अभी, तो आज से अगर एजुकेशन में हम लोग सब मिलके इन्वेस्ट करेंगे, हो सकते 20 इयर्स बाद इंडिया से भी नोबेल लॉरेट और सो कॉल अदर रिसर्च डोमेन में उस तरह से लोग आते रहेंगे। हम कोलैबोरेटिव एफर्ट्स करना पड़ेगा। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Sir, may I request you to stay, please? Thank you so much, Dr. Biswajit Saha. In fact, you've indeed brought out the importance of, I think, localization, positioning of individuals, importance being given to rural and urban India for globalization of management. We cherish your presence and your contribution, and I know that we have not tapped on the actual knowledge that you have. May I request our beloved Chairman, sir, and Director Pallavi, ma'am, to honor our guests with a token of our love and affection. Thank you very much. We shall now break for a tea, and that would be for just 10 minutes. May I request you to check your watches and be back within 10 minutes. We shall be having speakers as well as panel discussions, please. Request all members to be back in time. Thank you.
may I request all the participants outside in the tea hub to please enter. We have the next speaker coming up. May I request all the participants, college, school, everyone to re-enter the auditorium, please. We have the next speaker up here. Please enter the auditorium.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I request you all to assemble once again. We're going ahead with panel discussion. Maybe there should be a bell which rings and then all teachers work towards it. Mr. Pavan and team, may I request you to be ready for the panel discussion. As the organizers are getting ready, may I request Ms. Meenu to introduce the panel members to all of us.
Good afternoon, everyone. After a good tea break, we are back again for our panel discussion. I would like to take this moment to introduce our panel members before we get started with it. Please allow me to introduce the panel members and then come back to the moderator who will take it forward. Mr. Gangadhar Gude, as the founder and CEO of ATAI, leads in revolutionizing the supply chain and logistics industry through digital transformation. With a passion for innovation and commitment to sustainability, accountability, and safety, he has built purpose-driven business models that have transformed the way companies operate. Under his leadership, INVECAS has entered and received the Red Herring Global 100 Award in 2016 and the Most Innovative Product winner, IESA Technovation Award in 2018. At the forefront of technology and driven by a desire to make a positive impact, Mr. Gangadhar is constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible and paving the way for a brighter and more sustainable future. Next in panel is Mr. Sricharan Lakaraju, leads a firm StuMags student discovery platform which helps students from Tier 2 and Tier 3 colleges find opportunities and discover themselves by networking with fellow students. He is passionate about training in different areas of entrepreneurship, aptitude and recruitment skills. He has trained more than 150,000 plus students till date on soft skills, interview skills and recruitment tests. He helps students in their career decisions and getting right opportunities. He helps brands to do their students outreach and identify student talents through StuMag's platform. Moving ahead, we have Mr. K.V. Praveen Raju. Praveen Raju is the founder of Suchitra Academy, an international school based in Hyderabad, India. Suchitra Academy provides an integrated facility where India's top players like Badminton World Championship, PV Sindhu trains. Mr. Praveen has been featured amongst 25 leaders reinventing K-12 education in Educational World India. He was the executive director of Indus International School, Hyderabad, and the founder chairman of Indus Early Years, both among the top schools of India in their categories. He was also the founder, vice president of TIE at Hyderabad, and is now co-chairman of Picky Arise. He is also the coordinator of Nexus of Good, Hyderabad chapter. Moving ahead, Mr. Sushil Amarisetti, our next panel member, an Ivy League University intern from University of Pennsylvania, USA, a graduate from University of the Sciences, Philadelphia, which is one of the oldest institutions of its kind in America, and a scientific informatics developer at one of the world's most reputed pediatric hospitals, Cincinnati Children's Hospital and Medical Research Center, USA. Mr. Sushil has also always been a passionate educationist. After gaining sufficient experience in international teaching methodologies, he chose to enter the field of education with a mission to make Pallavi Model School, Bodupal, a school of repute through his vision of imparting knowledge through technology. Along with the nation's best academicians and edupreneurs, Mr. Sushil is keen to introduce path-breaking concepts like learner-centric education, research-based curriculum, practical application of the knowledge, assimilated on a par with international standards and processes. I invite you all, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for all our panel members. Moving ahead, we have Mr. Pavan Alena, the founder and CEO of Metamorphosis, world's first virtual school for entrepreneurship at high school level to transform the student thinking to become job creators than job seekers. Metamorphosis seeks to empower young minds with the entrepreneurial skill set and guide them on the path of leadership and innovation. Mr. Pavan believes in hard work. At Metamorphosis, he is continuously helping the company thrive with his innovative business strategies and actionable goals. Dedicated to building a team of world-class professionals, Pavan believes that leaders produce leaders. He continuously strives to create energy in the team, give them vision, and help them make decisions with coaching and mentoring. I welcome all of our panel members here, handing over to Mr. Pavan as a moderator. I'm so sorry.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for the introductions, ma'am. For the next 40 minutes, I'll be as candid as possible. And in fact, the topic itself is very candid. Can India create next Google or Facebook? Before we start the debate, I just want to talk more about the panel members. We have 5 entrepreneurs. They're also educationists. And in fact, all of the 5 I've seen, from ideation till exiting, so they all know the actual startup journeys. And few of them have invested in several startups, and few of them are closely creating more entrepreneurs as well. So I think big round of applause to the panel, first of all. I'll make this as energetic as possible, and also I'll open to the audience after some time. So to be candid, let us ask the question to each panel member. I just want yes or no from you. Can India create next Google or Facebook? I just want yes or no. We'll start with Charan.
Yes.
Okay. Sushil sir.
Yes.
Okay, you'll have to give the reasons later, okay? Praveen sir.
Yes.
Okay. Gangana. Yes, okay. So, how many of you guys say yes here in the audience? Can India create next Google or Facebook? Okay, I see very few hands, okay. Okay, I think, okay. How many of you guys say no? I mean, maybe not. Okay, cool. Anyway, so we'll kind of deep dive into the discussion now. We'll start with Charan. Charan, why do you think so India can create next Facebook or Google? If at all you see today, whenever we open an email, or whenever we see any email from our HR, our heartbeat raises to about 130 BPM because we really don't know if at all our jobs are secure, and now we are talking about can India create Facebook or Google. Why yes?
So, first of all, thank you. And Hyderabad Today Conclave, very unique initiative and great curated topics first. I still remember almost 5 years back, I was invested for the first time in a neighbor ISB. And there was a very unique scene on stage where I was pitching like a Shark Tank mode in a Thai summit. Someone asked me, why are you building a global platform? It was written. I said, we are very good at creating global CEOs. You know, we always have this thing called Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella. We are already there with the global CEOs, but why not global platforms? The first is a perspective change. We always have this issue where whenever we are launching something, we say Airbnb for this, Google for this. Suddenly we keep them at a benchmark. We are so fascinated, like if someone gets into Indian university, nobody talks about it. But we talk about, you got into Harvard, okay. The moment you are saying Harvard at that place, psychologically we are thinking that we are number 2, number 3, and number 4. So the first, it should be a perspective shift in people saying that we can create platforms. That's the first basic thing. Second, it's all about the suffix called ed or ing. And education, ed and ing. It is like developing or developed. It is all about the psychological thing which we use ed or ing at the end of the word. We call still, we are very happy, we say that it is developing country. But today, the kind of infrastructure what we have, my friend from Valley was telling, we were at T-Hub. He said, this looks like Manhattan, or the skyline looks like a Manhattan. I said, maybe the new downtowns, I went to Texas, they are creating Gachibowlis of their own also. So the whole perspective is like the moment when we say this, that's where the real change starts. It's like we have to start talking in that language at our dining table, that we can be better. I still see, I'm very happy, not fighting among the curriculums, but the moment I have Biswajit Garu, I think he left, but it was like CBSE, he mentioned a great point about why are you so worried about IB? It's CBSE. The day when you talk about CBSE is awesome, that's where you start cultivating that spirit among students. It's like, wo acha hai, hum ye hai, and stuff. So that's the reason I say it is possible because we are taking that risk. And we have one generation advantage. It's like, I tell you today, thanks to Shark Tanks and all these things, how Kaun Banega Crorepati when we were in school, it made us think that you can attend a quiz on the come and that's a self-respect concept. Today, my father, a retired teacher, now he tells me, Charan, you take risk. It's okay. Because he didn't get a chance to take the same risk what in those days. Because they were the first generation who came to city and they have to build their own platform. Now he says like, after COVID, people are okay with a gap year. They say like 1 year, at least work hard for it. That risk appetite has increased in India, which will ensure that we'll have a lot of big platforms like that.
Yeah. Thanks, Sharan. We'll move to Praveen Raju, sir. Sir, you said yes, and you have also invested in several ventures and all. What is one thing that you see while you are kind of incubating a venture or while you are taking up an initiative? Do you compare them with Google or Facebook? Do you have that still I mean, do you envision that, your initiative should become like Google or Facebook? What goes in your mind when you kind of listen to an idea, and why did you say yes to this?
Well, this interesting, unfortunately, the answer is not a simple yes. I am very optimistic, been a very optimistic guy on India, especially the startup ecosystem. Like how Charan was mentioning, that we are still underdeveloped, developing, have a place to go for developed country as well. So we have a responsibility of picking the masses as a whole. And also to the point that our previous generation had basic necessities were more important than growth or thinking big. These sort of challenges were there when we have been, so far coming up to this situation where we are today. If you see China, they have built Google or Facebook. Of course, they closed down. They didn't allow a Facebook, they didn't allow a Google, they didn't allow a YouTube. So all these guys mushroomed. They became very large. India being a democracy, we cannot do that. So it will take some time in terms of how we actually progress there. So in fact, there are several key pieces that need to fall into place for us to be at that level. We may see some isolated successes, but as a broad-based success stories we have to see. So the entrepreneurial spirit that is there in India is phenomenal. I mean, it's everybody, the Jugaad mindset that we have as Indians, that what is the best way, optimal way to do things rather than the process way of doing things. That's a key skill for any entrepreneur, right? So that's somewhere innate, and we are born with it, as general Indian is born with it. So that's number one skill that we have. So in terms of the industrial revolution, we've just come into the information age. So we had the UK of yesteryears, US has rode the manufacturing industrial wave, also riding information wave as well. Historically, our genes are built for knowledge, right? Our great sciences, what happened, Ayurveda, astronomy, astrology, different things like even physical health. We have been knowledge leaders of the world. And the industrialization came and it just went in a different path. Right? So we all, as you said, we had to take care of ourselves. So our mindset was towards a job, factory, and things like that was the mindset. Now that's all changing. We're back to the knowledge economy. And I don't see any other country, the level of knowledge that we have, or the knowledge capital that we have, the human capital that we have, is phenomenal. And what we have demonstrated with Satya Nadella's or Sundar Pichai's of the world is just a small sub-segment of what is actually possible. And I don't see why we cannot reach that. Right? So we are at the cusp of that. It will take some time. But of course, for that to happen, I think the most important thing is our education system. The way the NEP has been built is fantastic. So we at our school have been, believing in project-based learning, entrepreneurship, and all these things. But the policy itself is talking about it, interdisciplinary learning and things like that. So I see solid foundations in this, and we need a lot of execution in terms of proper execution at the Government of India level, state level being a concurrent subject. They both have to come together to create a path of learning and innovation to happen.
Thank you, sir. Yes, India is definitely the knowledge capital now, and I think we are also getting there. And Gangana, I have a couple of questions to you. One is the reason why you said yes. Second thing is, I think we are not too comfortable with what you are doing. You are creating a threat for a lot of the jobs with AI, right? I mean, with kind of say Amazon Go is launching their own humanless stores. Everything is becoming humanless now.
And so what are we going to see in the future? And how is India going to be a bigger role in these things? And if at all you can shed some light on what you're also doing at AI, that will be really great.
Thank you. But let me start with the statement, AI is not going to replace humans. Even to create AI, you need humans. I think that's the simple standpoint people miss out. To coming to my answer, let me start with why I said yes. Can we do it? Yes. Is it possible now? No. And it's a very strong statement. Why? Because there's a huge mindset change that needs to happen. And I think this is something we were talking about before talk itself. It starts at the grassroots level, and I think I'm happy to be invited here because I get to talk to the educators directly. Biggest difference that I've seen when it comes to a global perspective versus India is practical education, implementing education with the industries. I think that is a huge gap that we've been seeing in India. As Indians, we're amazing education, we have amazing innovation, we have amazing CEOs. But then why are we not, again, in a global standpoint of view, India is termed as a services country. Why are we not having innovation here? Why are we not having people generating companies like that here? It's coming again from the mindset. And I think that if that mindset changes, we will be bigger than any country in this world. And it's a very strong statement I make because look at from mathematics, the number 0 was invented by us. Take most of Intel, Vinod Dham invented the first processor, Indian. And look at how many Indians have invented things, but they did it in a Western form. They didn't do it in India. And look at how before it was called the brain drain. Now they're calling it the reverse drain because a lot of people are wanting to come back to India. It's the mindset change again. But I think the biggest point, we at AI, let me talk about at AI. Our biggest saying is letting humans be humans. Humans are meant to do much more bigger things than doing rudimentary things. Simple action. I want to pick up 10 things and put it over there. A human should be thinking how it needs to be done. He shouldn't be doing that. And that's where we believe AI can do that. A lot of process automation, a lot of thought process indicative AI can help. And how AI helps, I mean, I think that's a different topic itself. But I think the biggest stress emphasis that I'd like to give to all the educators here, we would love for you to work with the industries to tackle the real life problems. And through that, you'll create the next Facebook and Google. I mean, and that is where it comes from is the students have to come here and address that problem together. Yeah, thanks.
I think the industry and academia connect that has to be there, what Ganga was mentioning. So let me check with Sushil on this mindset change right from the grassroots level. So Sushil sir, you run one of the biggest chain of schools in Hyderabad. Wanted to know how is that possible, right? I mean, here, if at all I interact with the teachers or parents and students, for them to balance this industry academia connect versus their pure academics and their sports, their arts, culture, there are hundreds of things that every child should be going through. But in this case, how as an academician, how as a school owner, you can bring that mindset change?
India's economy is growing very fast, and India Inc. has produced many companies like Flipkart, Nykaa, Ola, Swiggy, A lot of companies have come up, but again, the kind of investment what is going into the India Inc., the kind of companies we are producing and globally successful rate is very less. There are multiple factors. As you said, the mindset and ideology is one of the biggest factor, where our mindset is generally if we invest 1 rupee, we want that 1 rupee back as soon as possible. Patience levels are little low. The main key factors for a company to be successful are two main key factors. One is research and development, and the second thing is customer service. So if you see the statistics, only 0.1% of the private investments is going into research and development. That is very, very low. And so these two factors have to be improved a lot for the companies to see the light in the global market. And the second thing, the market, the local market, that is also is very important. If you see the demographics, for example, Rediff Mail was founded in year 1996, but Google was founded in 1998 in US. Rediff Mail is an Indian company. But the difference is, US market was already, the internet was widely in use over there. And it was easy for Google to be successful in the local market first and enter globally. But Rediff, here in Indian market, that point of time, internet was not so widely used. Only very few pockets in urban metropolitan cities were using internet. And only after 2009, when 3G services have come up, internet was widely in use into Tier 2, Tier 3 cities and into villages as well. So what happened for Rediff to get the revenues, what they have done is they have directly started mailing advertisements to the inboxes of the customers, that IRC customers. And the second thing, they have done activation fees. Like if you're not using Rediff Mail for 45 days, the account used to get deactivated. For reactivation, again, they have to pay money. So this changed the customer base from Rediff to Yahoo or Google. So this is one of the important factors. The local demographics also plays an important role. Third thing is the organization structure also is very important. Structure and hierarchy in any organization is very important because organizations thrive on structure. You see big companies like Google, Facebook, Apple and all, they're spread across in global cities across. They manage many companies, branches and all, but how they do it in an autopilot way because the structure is so good. But in India, what happens is we don't believe in hiring good CEOs, CFOs or COOs. Even if we hire, we try to micromanage things. So that is one of the little disadvantage for us. And the fourth thing is Indian economy. Most of the Indians, they belong to middle class economies. So first thing is to have a very good standard of living and meet the ends meet is very difficult. So forget about thinking in investing a startup. And if you have to get a very good wedding match, when you go to wedding proposals and all, you say that I'm starting a startup, the revenue is yet to be seen that way, then it is very difficult to get a match as well. It is easy to be a IT software engineer or having a good government job. It is much more easy and it's a fixed and safe income. So these four things are there. And coming to the education part, we are very unfortunate that we have been invaded by each and every powerful country. There is no exception for us, right from 10th century onwards. Main thing is the British and Mughal, they have changed our education system. Ancient education system is more of spiritual, cultural, then critical thinking curriculum was there. But after British has come, they have changed the education system into more of memorization, retention of facts, then rote learning. They wanted to produce more mass number of clerks, and they wanted good citizens who can obey the British rule and all. So they produced more number of job seekers than to produce job creators. Another unfortunate thing is we have continued the same kind of education system. Even still now we are continuing the same kind of education system. So I think there should be a major reform in this education system. Hope this new education policy and more collaborations, globalizations and change in parents and educators' mindset is very important at this point of time to see the light.
Thank you, sir. That was very candid. I'll go to Charan again. So Charan, you have created the platform to bridge that gap between industry and the youngsters. When you interact with all of them,
your confusion should be removed. How fear should be removed. But now it's the other way around. It's like, people are okay to be confused. Second thing which I observe in college students is like, when we used to grow up, we were a big time, not Xbox, but the video games. I'm talking about the Marios and of the world, like Pac-Mans of the world. Then the curiosity levels were like, we were always tuned that you have to be a consumer of the game rather than a creator of the game. And it was like, if someone was trying to break that video game set and check what was the circuit there, very few parents used to get annoyed. They used to think like, why are you breaking a game? But there was a scene where once we were trying to break the console there and try to read the chip there. How the chips are connected, what is the soldering done, these are the few things. Now people are calling it as tinkering and a lot of other things, but these things were there. The second point is like these students, the entrepreneurial mindset is more important because there is a big confusion today. Everybody should become an entrepreneur. And the easiest thing is like the moment someone, these days, e-summits are very common in the colleges. Fortunately, we celebrate successful people more. We have to celebrate people who are not successful also. Because they tell you more stories than the people who are successful. There's a very good line in a Telugu movie. It's called as Adbhutam Jarigetappudu Evaru Gurtincharu, Jarigaka Gurtinchalsina Avasaram Ledhu. Lot of times, I keep asking, one student just walked up to me before coming to the session. He said like, sir, you are successful. I want to get a selfie with you. I said, I didn't knew that I was. What is successful first? Because it is the biggest question that you have to ask yourself. It's a relative term. If someone asks like, again, after this session, again, he goes back to the board and writes a mail saying that the month was not great. So most of the time in students' mindset today, entrepreneur is a glamorous term. There is a lot of noise. Now, there is a lot of noise, but for the music to come out, there should be noise first. Let us accept that noise first, and we have to create more entrepreneurial mindset. What is difference between becoming an entrepreneur and entrepreneurial mindset? Because everyone, today, I go to colleges, they say startup. I have to start up my company. I have to start up. Funnily, I said startup in Telugu, I said start jesh aapeda ani. Start to apu ani. But it is not just starting a startup, it is about working in a startup. It should be like, I go back, I want to echo Sushil's point here. 2013, mine was a child marriage. I got married at 23. The reason was...
Now I can connect the dots.
Yeah. The reason, it was like my father-in-law gave his daughter to me because I was an Infosys H1 and I told my father saying that I want to resign, I want to start my own company. He said, first get married. Because you won't get a bride. And October 19th, my marriage on 2013, I put my papers. It was my notice period. The biggest shock in his life to my father-in-law was I started a company. And he feels that I have fooled him. Till recently, I was listed by Forbes. Then he said like, okay, now it's okay now. Now it's fine. But the point is, this is a mindset. It's like if you're working in a small company, it means that I still remember one of my aunt coming to me, and my cousin was a Bitsian from Bits Pilani. He got into Qualcomm, and I got into Infosys. It was 2010. There was a family function. We were holding our plates, and she came and she said like, "Hey Chaitanya, ekkada vachindi job?" He said, "Qualcomm auntie." Charan, neeku ekkada vachindi? Infosys. And she pointed towards Chaitanya and she said like, "Pedda companyలలో job తెచ్చు. పిల్లని ఇయర్ ఎవరు నీకు?" Because for her, Infosys was bigger than Qualcomm.
Bank loans could ever by the way.
So these are the mindset shifts that smaller company, bigger company, it's not about thing. I'll tell you a very nice math because a lot of teachers here, this is something which you have to tell a lot of students. When we learn fractions, if the denominator is big, the value is less. If the denominator is less, the value is more. If you are working in a TCS, it is 1 by 5 lakhs. If you are working in a startup, it is 1 by 100, 1 by 50. The value of a fraction will be more. And the first 2 to 3 years of your life, if you are less than 30, you should choose your boss to work with. Because if you are working I worked in Infosys for 4 years. I understood something like, what are you doing? If someone asked me, I don't know. It's a big bank project. In that bank project, there was one module which was given. In that module, there was one method which was given. Because I was billed in dollars, for the work which I can complete in colleges, as I was a merit student in JNTU, and when I joined Infosys, that was the only job which I got in 2009, thanks to recession in those days. I went to my manager, I said, I finished the task. And he just said, you have 20 more days to do this. Because you will be billed per hour. Don't finish the task. In colleges, assignment you have to go fast and give it to the manager or the teacher. You feel good. But the moment you get into a services company, you are told that same work you have to do in 20 days. In the other 19 days, I started preparing for GMAT. So this is where you have to teach people that you have to work in a smaller company. When you're working in a metamorphosis or at AI, where the strength of employees is 100, less than 100 or 200, you become a full stack guy. So that, and you start owning, you start seeing like, I'll own more job, I'll do more work. Because these days, if you are giving ideas also in schools, if one teacher gives more ideas, a lot of people stopped giving ideas because ideas chepte nanne cheyamantaremo. Sir, we have to do Hyderabad today conclave. Great idea, organize it. And after 2 days, she feels like, am I getting paid more? Why am I doing? Then immediately she says she stops doing that work. And you are killing the entrepreneurial spirit there. Please understand, it is okay to do extra. It is okay to, and then if you observe a lot of people say, if you do something extra, they say extra jayaku. And in your resume, there is something called extracurricular activities. And before filing for an MBA seat, this guy does 2 blood donations, works for one NGO. The reason is he wants to add some bullet points. So if you change the mindset, I keep telling students, and a lot of 18 to 21 students, this is what one message which I want to be, a lot of kids are there, teachers who have their kids in the colleges. I'll tell you one thing which is spoiling a lot of people in a right way, which is a very controversial statement, but volunteerism. We are live. We are live? Okay. I'm happy to tell because a lot of students in 18 to 21, they say that go and work in an NGO. Every student idea I get these days, they say, I want to change the society. I want to change the society. And JP Garu is here. I was a guy, like we were all like, in Narsimha and me, and when we were in college days, it was all about, we want to change the society. But one point which I'll end here, that society changing sometimes has become a lot of students into NGOs. But I have to tell you one thing, if everybody is selfish and changes their own family, group of families is society also. Because a lot of people are forgetting their own family and want to change society, and after a few days, the society doesn't change. So he feels, I have to go back to US. But if you become selfish and start worrying about your own company, your own family, if there are 10 families in a row in a colony, if 10 people take care of all their family, one day if the road is not fine to go to some office, all the 10 guys can donate something and get a road. That is better. So students have to think about, and every idea which comes from the college student, they say, I want to start a blood donation camp. I want to start a directory. Come out of social ideas. There are a lot of good ideas which are making business. That's where you can get a Google or a Facebook out of India. Yeah.
Thanks, Sharan. A lot of insights. I want to ask Praveen sir. Sir, I mean, so far, you see, we are all talking about, the global CEO of Google is Sundar Pichai. We have got a lot of global CEOs who are from India.
but why not Larry Pages, right? Why not the founder of Starbucks? So, do you think that on the technology side or on the execution side or as an employee, Indians are creating the best job, but not the entrepreneurs? So, is there any relation that you can draw that the business studies itself is we are lacking somewhere, but whereas the leadership skills and the technology skills and all, India is anyways at par, which we have gathered from this panel. But as a business, in terms of the numbers, you think that we are thinking about smaller numbers? That is why we are not able to create something like, say, Google or Facebook.
Very interesting is that till about 10 years, 15 years ago, Indian market was so tiny. If you want to do a Google, Facebook, you are the best, most brilliant mind in the world, you probably have done it. US was able to create because obviously domestic market itself is massive in terms of what is happening. And this didn't evolve overnight. It happened through several decades. One is the support from the government, support from academia, entire funding, the ecosystem. Well, so the funding from government, which a lot of people don't recognize, some of the greatest innovations that have come into the world have been through the government projects of the US, like Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Their first project which they worked for was funded by the government, Stanford. That's how they came in. So likewise, the driverless cars have the database itself, internet itself, all were government-funded projects. So now that the government of India has started to do some industry and government connect, R&D development, like that, takes some time, but we are on the right path. I don't see any reason why we should not be able to build something like that sometimes. But we have to understand and appreciate that our country, the economy, has been very, very, very strong. Now you will see. Already the entrepreneurs in India who created tremendous amount of wealth in such a short period of time. We are the third highest billionaires. Not that billionaires list is the best yardstick, but in terms of the startup ecosystem also been very good. So somewhere the earlier what I was mentioning about the new national education policy, then we have the government support, industry connect, funding practices. So these have to come together. I'll give you a very quick example on Israel. Israel has the highest startup density in the world. Large part of the startups are from STEM. But if you see their PISA ranking, PISA is the test that all teachers would sure. So in the PISA ranking, they're in the bottom 40% in STEM, science and math. But they're able to create such fabulous companies, tremendous innovations that are coming up. Pen drive has come from there. Drip irrigation. We have a whole bunch of innovations that have come from Israel. Such a tiny country is able to. So the mindset what we're talking about, right? Industry connect, the government connect. They focus, the education itself focuses on the way you do things, not the end result of your marks. That's not what is celebrated. So the process, you learn the right process to do about a project. That is the design thinking, experiential learning. These are some of the concepts which the NEP has talked very much in detail. And if we are able to successfully implement this, I don't see any. We would probably be sitting next to Sergey Brin or Larry Page next such a stage.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. On that note, since sir spoke about government and also their involvement, I think yesterday, I was reading the news that the students of Pallavi has received about 8 lakh worth of funding from the Minister of Education, from the government. I think congratulations on that. I think already the transformation has begun, that, the startups are evolving from the schools itself. Sushil sir, so on a candid note, what are we going to do with that 8 lakhs? I mean, so is the school nurturing more ideas similar to that? How do we make sure that the school is setting an example for many other children?
8 lakhs was funded to students.
Yeah.
It's their project. And from school end, we are helping as much as possible. We are having a separate bus for them to go to villages and all. And we are creating support from teachers and mentors and all we are creating. And we are also planning for summer camp for government students, even at our school during the summer time. We are ensuring that we provide some kind of meals and incentives for the government students as well. That we are doing. Apart from that, we are encouraging most of the students. Now, Telangana government has come up with VHub, T-Hub, T-Works. So, most of the students are registered to VHub. We have been sending grades 8th, 9th and 10th students, girl students especially, to the VHub. That is how they have started this idea, and they have proposed to KTR sir, and he has funded this amount. So even the government, central government initiatives are also many are coming. Make in India project and all. Saha sir was saying that skill development and all. If you have a very good idea, you pitch it to us and we will fund. So that way, even from government's end, from the past few years, there's a lot of revolution and they're transforming.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And please share the best practices also on, how we have already built and kind of how we secured that funding as well. We'll talk on that. Rangana, I'll take you into one situation now. I'll play 3 roles here, okay? And you have to kind of give your insights. I'm a student. I came up with an idea that I'm going to create the best music streaming platform. How seriously are you going to take me? And I'm asking you a fund of 25 lakhs. What is it that you will respond? As a student, as a teacher, I'm a teacher, I'll say that I want to come up with a platform similar to Khan Academy. I want a fund of 15 lakhs. What will be your take on this? And now I am already a startup founder. I came to you that I'm running out of funds. I'm planning to shut down my company. What will be your suggestions? So 3 roles. I want you to give me your 3 answers to that.
All right. So let me address the first one. A student with an idea. He wants to build this music streaming platform, which is amazing. He's looking for funds. I think the first 2-3 things we look for is how his idea can be a business. I think that's one of the key things. Is it workable or not? Second, what is his team? Third, what is the timeline he's looking for? I think in a general statistics, these are the 3 things we look for. And if anywhere he or she is lagging or putting together, we try to support it. I think that's one of the biggest difference you see before. If the founder is not able to do these 3 things, they'll shut it down. Don't shut it down. Try to bring together 2-3 people who have this capability, help them come out with an idea. And like Charan said, a failure does not mean you have gone wrong. A failure means you have learned something, what not to do. And coming out of that failure, you come out with a much brighter area. And I think that's one thing, again, going back to it, I keep on saying mindset. Keep on encouraging. 2, when a teacher comes and says, I want to build something like a Khan Academy, I'll say, why not? But the biggest thing is, for that, again, I go back to it, a Khan Academy is a perfect example of how they correlated with industries and how they brought that realistic mindset to the students. Is there a scope to build another Khan Academy? There is scope to build another 100 Khan Academies. It is where and how and what we want to do. I think there is no limitation in that. We are a country of over 1 billion population. And I don't think even 10% we're even covering today. So is there a market? Our domestic market is enough, I think, to take care of the whole world. And it's how we utilize it. And last but not the least, the third, where a startup founder is ready to shut down. The biggest concern I see in that, in startup founders in India, if you are mimicking the West, you get money. If you're not mimicking the West, you have to shut down. And that's become the biggest reality and the biggest hurt. It's not somewhere else. I'll take it with my personal case. The same idea, when I started it, there were 6 investors, not 1, not 2, 6 investors who said, move your company to San Francisco, you'll be a billionaire. You continue in India, you'll shut down the company within a year. This is statements made by investors. And it's back then I had very few people that encouraged me, prove them wrong. And today we're in a stage at least to talk about it. But reality is, because I had that support, I was able to last. And if that's the biggest thing, what I request is bringing in that type of support from multiple of these people. I guess, yeah.
I got the answer. Thank you so much. And before I open up questions to the audience, I have one suggestion, not suggestion, but probably one request. Probably once, Chairman sir, Comrade sir, I have one request is, out of the conversation only it just came out that if at all any teacher or anyone from your school management kinds of pitches in an idea, because why are you restricting always innovations just to the students or any startup enthusiasts? Why can't it come from the teachers as well? So can we create a platform for the teachers to present their ideas as well? Probably we might get some YouTube or Facebook from there, because you have ocean of teachers, working with the group of institutions. Probably if at all we can do that, I think that will be really great. And in fact, Praveen sir is also here. Praveen sir, if at all we can create one platform for the teachers as well, who can actually pitch in their entrepreneurial ideas. That will be really great. On this note, I wanted to open to the audience any questions. So people who have raised their hands before that, India can create Google or Facebook. I wanted your reasons as well. Why? Now please raise the hand. Can India create Facebook or Google? I want the reasons why. Why do you think so? And what contribution that you are making to make it? Anyone here from the audience? Anyone? Or any question, any specific question that you have? Okay, we have.
Hello.
Good afternoon, everyone. The question is, can India get up Google or Facebook? My answer is yes, for some conditions apply. Okay. So I was a BITS Pilani student, and I got a placement in Cape Gemini, and I declined that job. And 2 of my professors, they requested me to join in a startup company where they have started in a research platform. We have a research hub in my institution. So I've declined the offer, and I've joined in a startup company where I can put my ideas, and I feel it is like
working at home rather than working in a commercial office, where we can provoke our ideas and new innovations to that company, to reach out to that company and extend its business. So, how far, we can attract these talented people in any institutions where they can decline a huge job offer and they can join the startups first to make any Google or Facebook.
That's a really good, in fact, question and also an insight what you have given.
Yeah.
I think I'll let any one of the panelists to kind of answer. How do you attract the talent to work for startups? Because there is a lot of talent that is not taking risks, enough risk to kind of join any startup. So, Charan, what are you doing with Stomax? What are you doing with that? Praveen sir, how are you attracting talent in one word?
We have to learn more branding of our company. Because it's like, unless you brand your company with emerging tech or something, you can't attract. And I'll be honest, second, thanks to T-Hub and few places, good office is also very important these days for a lot of people to come. Because I'll tell you, it's a self-respect issue. They say, if it's a good infrastructure, same thing. It's like they want a good ambience to work. Three, it is about the peer-to-peer learning. You attract people with people. If you have good people, you attract good people. It's all about the leaders.
The third one is money, sir. That is also important.
Money.
Yes, because the reputed companies, they offer a huge package, right?
I'll tell you very simple, one line and end that thing. Amazon pays 40 lakhs per annum, but the actual pay is 12 lakhs only. The other 28 lakhs are the ESOPs. Our guys put in the colleges, they put the maximum placement, 40 lakshalu. And our guys transfer the dollar to rupee and they put 1 crore salary అని ఈనాడులో ఒక పేపర్ వస్తుంది. అంకుర సంస్థ ₹1 కోటి జీతం అని. ఆ ₹1 కోటి సిలికాన్ వ్యాలీలో అందరికీ ₹1 కోటి వస్తాయి. ప్రాబ్లం మన దగ్గర ఏంటి అంటే జీవితంతో కంపేర్ చేస్తారు. ఫస్ట్ 2 years జీతం కోసం పనిచేయద్దు. ప్లీజ్ అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్. మనీ కోసం వచ్చేటోడు ప్లీజ్. The first thing in schools, we have to tell the difference between money and wealth. If you want to come and work in a startup, don't come for money.
And to conclude, my take is, can India create Google or Facebook? I don't know, but if at all we celebrate every innovation as a Google or a Facebook, I think we're already there. Already a lot of innovations and entrepreneurial ventures are coming in India. I think that it's time for us to kind of celebrate. It's time for us to gear up to this industry 4.0. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a patient listeners. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you so much for a wonderful panel discussion on a hot and happening topic, I should say, whether India can create the next Google or Facebook. A warm thanks to Mr. Pavan Alina, Mr. Gangadhar, Mr. Sri Charan, Mr. Praveen Raju, and Mr. Sushil Anmishetty. May I invite our Chief Operating Officer, Mr. Yashasvi, to kindly come forward and give the mementos. May I request Chairman, sir, please come forward. Please come, sir. It was indeed a very, very enriching discussion, pretty candid, I should say. Great learning for all of us, especially in the education field, and a lot of takeaways. Thank you, thank you. It gives me Immense pleasure to accord a warm welcome to Mr. Jayaprakash Narayan. I think the hall should be resounding with claps. To talk of Mr. Jayaprakash Narayan in a nutshell, he is a physician by profession, a public servant by choice, and a Democrat by conviction. An Indian liberal politician and activist. He is the founder and president of Lok Satta Party. He served as a member of the Legislative Assembly from Kukatpalli constituency of Andhra Pradesh in India. He is a former Indian public administrator and physician by education, and is the founder and general secretary of Foundation for Democratic Reforms, an NGO, an independent public policy think tank and research resource center. In fact, really, I'm very proud, sir, that you have made it to the IAS in 1980, standing All India rank 4. Some of his achievements during a 16-year-long career in government include: as a joint collector, he created full and permanent employment for 8,000 youth from displaced families of the Visakhapatnam steel plant. As collector of East Godavari district, he spearheaded the reconstruction of drainage and irrigation network in Krishna, Prakasham and Godavari deltas. As collector of Prakasham district, he successfully mobilized farmers on a large scale to take up irrigation schemes to bring a record 2 lakh acres under irrigation. He strengthened the credit cooperatives by making them independent of government control. He served as a secretary to both Governor Vishakant and the Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. N.T. Ramarao. To continue, because there is a lot, but I would definitely talk a little because I think it runs into pages. Mr. Narayan is a founder member of Foundation for Democratic Reforms, FDR, and currently he serves as its General Secretary. It's one of India's leading think tanks and research resource centers for formulating and promoting fundamental reforms in political, electoral, and governance spheres and in critical areas of state policy. He is the advisor of Youth Parliament Program, YPP. Youth Parliament is an ideal platform for socially conscious youth to express their views, ideas, and to act as a change agent in national building process. He started the Lok Satta movement in 1996 to educate the citizens of India about voting, rights, and government. It has emerged today as India's leading civil society initiative for governance reforms and is at the forefront of key initiatives like disclosure of candidate wealth and criminal history details, political funding reform, decriminalization of politics, improvement of electoral registration, comprehensive judicial reforms, including local courts and National Judicial Commission and citizen charters. It has been the driving force in achieving the following governance reforms in many recent years, like substantial reduction in short delivery of petroleum products in all retail outlets, and improvements in voter registration, and so on. I can go on, but we are all waiting to listen to you to speak, sir. May I invite you for your expert talk on transforming management education. Thank you.
Friends, if I'm a smart man, I should shut up now. For 2 reasons. The first is this is lunch period, a terrible time to talk. The second is I really cannot claim expertise in management education. You know, I manage some of the public institutions. I really don't have no expertise in private management. Long ago, I was MD of a sugar factory. Don't ask me how public service is connected to sugar factory management. That's the way India is managed, at least was managed. I was special officer of Vizag steel plant. I was not managing the plant, but I was managing many incidental issues arising out of creation of the steel plant. That is when I discovered that public sector in India is the private sector of those in public office. It has nothing to do with the people of the country.